Everybody cool? Here we go. I'm going to mute you. And Susie, I'll let you take it from there.
Hello, everybody. I am Susie Piebler. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ghostflower. So welcome, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on this call and to learn more about Ghostflower. So today is your day to ask the founders any question you like. But before we begin, we want to show you a short presentation to just update you on what's the latest over at Ghostflower. So here's the plan. I'd like to give you a sneak preview of what's coming in the fall collection. I just got back from LA and I've got some samples that I picked up on Monday that I'm anxious to show you what they look like. And then I'm going to turn it over to Bonnie, and Bonnie is going to show you how to put the clothes into action, how you stretch along the energy channels, how you press those acupressure points, so you can start releasing all that stagnant energy that we're getting from sitting all the time in Zoom meetings. And she'll show you how you release that energy so you have that freedom of movement and you start to feel calm but re-energized at the same time. Then she's going to turn it over to Bob, and Bob is going to give you an update on our financial picture and talk about our use of proceeds. And then we'll open it up to the floor. You can ask us any question. Make sure if you have a question as we're going through our presentation, make sure you add that in the chat column. Okay, so let's talk about the fall collection. I've got these samples here, but what I would like to do is to first give you kind of a high-level overview of what our strategy is for the fall collection. So I'm going to share my screen. And I want to talk about, here's our strategy for the fall collection. Can everybody see that? Bonnie, nod your head. Yes. Okay, good. So our first strategy is to restock our popular onesies. These have been by far our biggest sellers, and we have sold out of both the black onyx onesie and our green wood pines onesie in every size. So these are extremely popular. In fact, we have a backlog of over 25 people who have signed up for pre-order. So our first priority is to restock these popular onesies, but then to add to with new colors. So for our wood pines onesie, we're going to offer it in the forest green, but also in just this beautiful rich heather gray. And for the black onyx onesie, we're going to offer that in a new fabric that I'm going to show you in just a minute. It's just absolutely beautiful, luxurious fabric. And we're going to offer that in black and in burgundy. So let me talk about the foundation of all of our collections, but of this one. What our brand is known for, obviously, is that we're the only activewear that has your body's energy network literally woven into the designs. So these seams, these lines represent your energy channels, and real subtle logos represent your acupressure points. So that is your energy network. And really, it's that simple. We put them into the designs. But also a foundation of who Ghostflower is the fabric that we choose. Because there's one thing we know at Ghostflower, and that is you can put all kinds of science into the designs. If women don't like how they look or how it feels on their skin, they're not going to wear them. So we have to start with premium fabrics, and we are known for our premium fabrics. So our most popular is our 4-way compression. That is made for your sweaty workouts. That's very performant. It holds you in. It's sweat wicking. It holds you in and shapes you, yet we use a type of stretchy thread as well. So you're going into those deep knee bends. It's going to bend with you. And that's what gives it that feel like you're wearing nothing at all. So that is our most popular fabric. But this fall, we're going to be introducing the next generation of that four-way compression. It is so beautiful and luxurious. And we just got it in the other day and they made the samples and we love it. I cannot wait for you guys to try it on. But the four-way compression is not for everyone. Some people like comfort. And for you, we offer the Space Dye. So this is a soft, cozy material. A lot of people offer Space Dye, but this is more of a luxurious Space Dye, and you'll notice it when you feel it on your body. But it still conforms to the body. It's still quite flattering. And then our third type of fabric is our seamless fabric. So this is our first foray into creating a sustainable future for our fashion. This is all made in LA. In fact, all of our products are made in LA, but these are made in real time at a manufacturer down in LA. So you don't have the waste of ordering, flying the fabric over, cutting, doing a lot of waste with throwing things away. This is made in real time. And the consistency of this type of fabric is, it feels almost like a light sweater. So it's perfect for sort of the cooler nights of the fall. So those are our different fabrics. I'm actually going to switch back over and talk about the fabric itself, the new fabric that we've got. I think it might be hard to see. Can you see? This is our onesie in the new fabric, and it just feels so luxurious to the touch. And I've got it actually in this new maroon color that is probably looks a little red on here, but it's really an absolutely beautiful color. So I think you're going to like our new colors and our new fabrics. So I'm going to switch back over and talk about how we're going to roll out the fall collection. So we're going to have a lot more pieces than what you see here, but we're going to introduce it differently. In the past, we've just put out the whole collection all at once. Instead, this year, we're going to do it in capsules. So we're first going to release, almost immediately, we're going to release our onesie refresh in the new colors and in the new materials. And then shortly after that, we're going to do another capsule. We're going to be introducing our best-selling leggings. These are our classics that have also sold out. This is the Nourish Sand leggings. We're going to do a little bit higher waisted. These are quite popular. And this is going to be the new water legging in black, a little bit higher waisted. But again, in that new ultra luxurious fabric. So I think that's going to be the new little black legging that everybody's going to have in their closet. So we're also going to do something a little bit different this time. Again, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to show you this in real time. Typically what we've done is we've had all the science be in the leggings kind of hidden. It's tone on tone. So it's like your energy network is in the designs, but it's literally hidden in plain sight. So only you know it's there, you know how to use it, but to everyone else, it just looks like another legging. But this time, we're going to offer something a little bit different. We're going to actually showcase our difference, which is our energy channels, through the use of color blocking and even some bright red stitching. So we're going to experiment, see how you guys like it, but I absolutely love it. This is going to be my favorite legging, but it's not for everybody. But I like that we're going to accentuate what is in fact our advantage. Beyond that, I know I'm taking too long. Beyond that, we're going to do something brand new. We're going to have a travel and lounge set that I think you're really going to like. It's going to be joggers and sweatshirts and hoodies, which everybody does. So why would we do that? And the reason why we would do that is because we're going to have, again, those secret acupressure points that are going to be specific towards travel, towards lounging. I think Bonnie calls it the rest and digest points. So it's going to incorporate those acupressure points, but also have a real luxurious feel. It's going to be a cotton fleece that I felt it the other day. It's absolutely beautiful. It feels like the consistency of a cashmere. So that's just a real quick sneak peek of what the fall collection looks like. And at this point, I want to turn it over to Bonnie, and she's going to show you how to put the clothes into action.
Excited to see the new collection come to life. It's been so fun working on it, and I think you'll all really like it too. Most of you know that Ghost Flower is not just gorgeous, classic, flattering, comfortable, quality activewear. Like Susie was saying, it's more than that. It's an educational tool, and that tool aims to help women have more access to moving their energy, to feeling better in their body. Eastern medicine has helped us personally on a huge level, and we wanted to make that information, that toolkit, more accessible to people, to make it more practical, to make it more fun. And so most of you do know that we've woven the energy lines into the clothing, and we've placed key acupressure points onto the clothing so that people have access to this tool, and they can start to feel more empowered around taking charge of their own health. So as investors, thank you so much if you've already invested. I know many of you have. Thank you to potential investors and friends and family who have shown up today to support. What you're doing for us is helping us expand that educational reach, getting that educational content out to a greater audience, because it really has been very effective for us in our own personal lives. And so what I'm really excited to do this year, as we grow and expand, is take that education up a notch. We'll be filming a series of how to use the clothes to support you in reducing headaches, or support your metabolism, or boost digestion. This is all according to Eastern medicine, but we're going to go through specific issues or specific things that we all deal with as humans, and a more pared down snippet on film, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, so that more people have access to these concepts. If you have any issues or concepts or ideas that you want me to cover in these videos, I'd love to hear your feedback. I've heard jet lag, I've heard nausea, I've heard hormone balancing, headaches always, tummy aches. So these are the kind of things that we want to go over and help people have a couple tools in their own back pocket, utilizing the clothes to get them do-it-yourself, DIY at home. The other part of the educational expansion that's happening is that I teach the Ghost Flower practice weekly. We take class 3 times a week. And what's special about this practice is that we're really cleaning up the body from the inside out. We use a special stretching technique that helps us move stagnant energy and get our energy flowing in our body, as well as learning acupressure points, etc. And I can show you a little bit of that today. But what's going to happen is that we'll expand that and have more people have access to those classes, putting up some ads so that folks know to sign up. It's been a really wonderful tool, and to come together on Zoom weekly, especially during the pandemic. I'm sure a lot of you have joined exercise classes over Zoom during the pandemic, and we just want to keep that going whether we're stuck at home or not. It's a really special community and a great way to learn about our bodies through the lens of Eastern medicine, as well as cleaning up the connective tissue. So yeah, we'll start to grow those classes and the reach of those classes. I wanted to show you a couple things. First, I'm wearing our classic black onesie, but I wanted us to all be able to do an arm stretch together since we're all sitting down. So I'm going to put on our metal seamless top, and we've woven the meridians through the computer actually, and the machine puts the designs into the clothing as it's being made, like Susie was saying. So we're gonna do a little stretch for this channel of energy that runs down the outside of your arm. I think all of us can relate to shoulder and neck tightness, and this stretch is particular for that. So I'm gonna go left arm, but we're gonna mirror each other. So I'm gonna try not to say left or right so we don't confuse each other. So bring one arm up into a cactus, like a half Seguro cactus. You got it. Here, you're gonna activate your tissue by pressing your elbow backwards. So you're gonna feel this whole back of your arm engaged. You got it. And then bring your other hand to the outside of your elbow. This is gonna be your helping hand. Your elbow's gonna push back the whole time, so you keep that elbow active going backwards behind you, and then use the helping hand to drag your arm across. You got it, exactly right. Then relax, let's go back to the starting position. Plug out with your elbow, the helping hand drags the elbow across, and then you're getting a stretch in your upper shoulder and the outer arm. So the idea is we're starting to stimulate this line of energy as we're plugging out with our elbow and dragging the arm across. Let's do 3 more just for fun. And then we can compare sides. You can take up the tempo. Yeah, and we call this fascial flossing your connective tissue. Okay, check out your shoulders, just see if you feel even a little bit of brightness through that arm. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. And I can leave you uneven, or we could do the other side. Let's do the other side, why not? So the other side, elbow comes up into a cactus, other hand comes to the outside. Now we can do this a little bit quicker since we know what's going on. So you're resisting out the whole time with your elbow. That links you up with your connective tissue. So that engages your connective tissue. And then as you drag your arm across, you're getting that stretch to open and release any stagnation. So well done, team. Oh my gosh, you're pros. Hopefully you join me in class next week. Cool. And then I wanted to show you a quick acupressure point. I'm gonna switch my screen setup so that you can see with the proper lighting. So this guy here is on our black onyx onesie. This one, according to Eastern medicine, is great for digestion, hormonal balancing, and decreasing worry. So how you find it is you go about 3 fingerprints up from your inner ankle bone. And if you're sitting in a chair, you can cross your leg over and find that point with me. And if you're pregnant, please don't press. Once you find your inner ankle bone, 3 fingers up, find just the soft tissue behind the shin, and there's your point. Yeah. And this is a great point to bring energy up the body. If you're feeling low energy, you can press that. You can do both legs at the same time, or you can do one at a time and notice the difference between the two. So that's how we utilize the clothes. The clothes literally work as a body roadmap to start getting you invested in how to move your energy if you're feeling stuck in a place, or if you just want to, you know, add some papa to your workout, or just how you wake up in the morning. So yeah, that's my little demo. And I'd love to hear how we're doing from Bob. Bob's gonna, thanks Danette, that's so sweet. We're doing so well on our campaign already. We're over 245K, and we just really thank you all for joining in and becoming an owner with Ghost Flower. And Bob's gonna give us a couple details on those finances now.
Good morning. I guess good afternoon to some of you and good morning to others. I would like to second the motion on our heartfelt thanks for the ones of you that have been so generous already and have come in to invest. And for the ones of you that are thinking about it, hopefully we can pull you over the line and get you to join the Ghost Flower journey. It's exciting. I think you can see the enthusiasm of the team. And that's because we have something quite different and quite special. I will have to say, people ask me, what's your role? And I say, whatever Susie and Bonnie tell me to do. But in fact, what I kind of bring to the party is not a lot about yoga or a lot about fashion, but on the business side, I do have quite a bit of experience in the early stage companies and actually even larger companies. And so I try to help out mainly on the financing side, how to raise capital, and then just the business side. So I'm going to probably be the most boring part of this presentation today. So I would like to say that one way, the thing to think about a business like this compared to other businesses I've been in is that the whole game right now is to build the brand. And to build a brand, you got to start with a great product. And we know we have a great product. We have a lot of indicators. For example, our return rate is less than 10%. The industry average is 20%. And in fact, the returns we get are mainly about size. And that's not surprising because, you know, every brand has its own uniqueness on sizes. And then as you go through the SKU, the sizes can vary. So one of our challenges is how do we figure out how to help our customers get the right size from the beginning? We hardly have anyone that ships it back says we don't like the product. So that's a good thing, and the numbers are telling us that people like our product, but even more importantly, the customers tell us that they like the product. I think we have learned that, and I think Susie said at the beginning and Bonnie said at the beginning, is that our customers are not going to buy, or women, they have to look great and feel great, and that's in their own mind's eye, and so that's a starting point. But then after they love our clothes, there's so much more in those clothes that we're trying to communicate. And we're so excited that we can now start expanding out and give people more learning to go with the clothes at different phases after they buy. So let's go back to how we're doing. So the way I look at it is really right now, it's about the numbers of customers and the revenue base and how we're doing there. And the best way for us to look at that is really year over year. And so we're looking at year over year starting in January. And to remind you, or maybe you didn't know, that we launched the new collection in November. And so we started out the year with some new product. And then secondly, we really started engaging digital marketing, which before we were doing some Instagram work, thanks mainly to Bonnie, and we had a small team there, but we really had not done any ads, for example. And because we just didn't really have the capital to do that. And so we've really now gotten into that. We have a very professional firm we work with that handles our digital marketing. We have another group that's handling our Instagram working with the team. So if I look at year over year on the online, and online is our primary business, although we have a nice little wholesale business that goes along with it, but our focus right now is online. And so if I look at the online only, we're 240% as of yesterday. We're 240% year over year growth. Actually, I think on our website, we're saying 170% or something. So I need to go in and change that. We're actually improved since we even started down this path. In addition to that, though, we have had some interesting, what we call strategic wholesale. And so an example of that, we're not really wanting to get into wholesaling to big box stores or any of that. In fact, there's none to wholesale to right now. So fortunately, we weren't dependent on that. But we do want to wholesale through people to help build and spread the brand in different market segments. So for example, we did a deal with Suzanne Somers, was a co-brand. And we did that last spring. And of course, that's a whole different demographic. So that's good for us. It gets Ghost Flower out into a demographic that we're not mainly targeting with our online. And so that's good incremental business. If I throw in the wholesale business that we had in the first half, we're almost 500% over a year ago, but that's lumpy. So we kind of focus on growing the online and then see the wholesale deals as just kind of add on. I will say one other thing that's encouraging is before we were having to go to people to convince them to try, hey, would you like to be interested in do some kind of a deal with us? We're now having people calling us. And so we're starting to get people that we are actually attracted to because they're in kind of the yoga wear or and they're attracted to our store, our bigger store. And so we're going to have some wholesale deals likely that are really people coming to us that really kind of fit our criteria. So that's a really important thing for us. The other thing, so going forward, I wanted to talk a little bit about the market itself we're in, because I think that'll help you understand our strategy. So the market, let's start at the big picture. If you look at, you can go out and check out the size. The total activewear business in the world now is something like $398 billion. Now, you have to understand that when people say activewear, that could be a swimming suit, that could be tennis shoes. So anything you wear that has to do with activity can be classified activewear. So that's a pretty big category. So we shrink that down and say, okay, in that big, $400 billion business, where do we fit? And if you look at that next level, which is really more started out yoga wear with Lululemon, and then it's kind of expanded into what's called leisure wear, which people wear their yoga pants even if they're not going to exercise. And that market's about 45 billion. And so the 45 billion is where we're at. And then the top dog in that would be Lululemon, which is 3.5 billion. So I go, okay, there's room here, 45 less 3.5 billion. There's a place to play. And you have some big brands in there. You have Alo would be an example of a big brand. But what's even more, so I say, who's our competitor? What's more important is that we actually there's 3,000 new entrants in the activewear market. Now realize some of those are selling tennis shoes and things, but out of that, there's a lot of them in our space. And so I go, okay, we got 3,000 people wanting to be the next Lululemon. And so how do we break out of that, and how do we measure ourselves against those people? How are we doing against those? Because there's a bit of a horse race. We know that out of that 3,000, there's a lot of them's not going to make it. And so one of the ways to look at it, we have some good data that shows the number of products they ship a year. And even though we're small, we're still in the top 10%, even after only being really commercial for a year and a half. We're in the top 10% of that 3,000 companies. And if we make our business plan next year, we'll be in the top 3 or 4%. So we're already kind of breaking out of that group, and that's our challenge. So I see ourselves, that's our main competitor of getting brand awareness. And then we'll start, I think by the time we show up on a Lululemon's screen, we're in good shape. So that's kind of an overview of the market, and then you quickly get into well, how do we go to market if the deal is to build brand? And I'll tell you, from my other business experience, it took me a little while to get a head around that I had to spend that much money to buy a customer effectively. To get going. And so, but really how you start. So we started really organically. We started in Santa Barbara. And that really came about, let me turn my phone off. Sorry about that. So we started in Santa Barbara, and we kind of started building out from there. And we had yoga instructors and people like Bonnie, and people started wording of mouth, and we started getting our business. And then we kind of moved down into LA and started getting some business there. And we ran a few pop-ups and yoga classes. And so you start building an organic base, but then at some point you got to really go beyond that. but the good news about that is you start getting feedback. You start getting what people like, what they don't like. And then we kind of started moving into Instagram. So where we were starting to build a presence where people were starting to build followers. But now we really now have to move into where you have to spend quite a bit of money actually to build the brand. And so the learning I have, and many of you are probably totally familiar with this, so bear with me for the ones that may not be understanding. There's really two things you grow. You grow the organic side, which is word of mouth, or Instagram posting, people telling each other about the product. Things like our own influencers, where our ambassadors or maybe yoga instructors that wear our clothes, and that's your organic side. The other side is paid ads. And when you first start out, this is kind of a scary number, but if we would have started out just say we're going to try to launch this company just with ads to start out with, we probably would have had to spend $2 to get $1 revenue. Now, if you do that math, that's a tough game to play. And so we really started into the ad business. Well, right now it's kind of like for every dollar we spend in an ad, we get $2 worth of revenue. That's unsustainable over the long time, because effectively, if you're a 50% margin business, you're using all your margin basically by customers, but you have to do that at the beginning. But the goal is as you do that, you start getting built-in customers, and then they become word-of-mouth customers. So you just have to kind of go through this phase, and then you start also spending more on the organic side. You know, we're starting to boost our Instagram sales, but the goal over time is that to get where every dollar you spend, you make $5. And that's the way you do that, is that you have a big installed base of existing customers. And they're also word of mouth, and people get to know the brand. So that's kind of, so when we say how are we going to spend the money, it's really through that lens of how do you build the business. And so now what we're doing is that we're raising capital, because you need, at this stage, we're not profitable, we're not generating cash, and we won't be for probably a year and a half, 2 years. We're really building a market. But we're also not in the mode, a lot of early stage companies got into the mode of trying to build it so fast that they were consuming literally millions of dollars a year. And we're not playing that game either. We're really trying to cautiously build a quality market, but you still have to spend some money. So we're really trying to find, I think, the sweet spot of being patient and building a solid base of business that will have a brand that lasts a long, long time. And we think that's where the real value is in the company. And so with that, with the money we're raising, I'm going to assume we're going to get to our $400,000 target. And I actually believe we're going to. And so how are we going to spend that? Well, one thing that you have to remind yourself of is that raising money is not free. And so we have to pay, for example, WeFunder gets a 7.5% of the raise. So they're like an investment banker. That's how they get paid. And they don't charge us for ads or anything. They just basically charge us a fee. But that's a significant amount of money. In addition, even to be a crowdfunding equity raise, you have to have your books. You don't have to have a full audit, but you have to have them reviewed. By the way, that costs about 20 grand. You have to have legal work. And so when you get all done, you spend about 17% of your raise to basically raise the money. So any of you think about crowdfunding, don't forget that piece. You ought to be thinking maybe 15 to 20% of that raise is going to go back into, and you're going to have some money up front to play the game. The second part is marketing. And I will say, I'll say the second part is a collection. You got to build things. And so about 20%, 19 to 20% will be in the collection, refreshing. Now the good news is we have plenty of inventory. One of the challenges when you're small is that these manufacturers have minimums. And so it's very difficult to optimize inventory until you really get a lot of volume. And so right now our turns are slow, but the good news is we don't have to constantly replenish the inventory with the capital. So it's kind of a catch-22, but trust me, I would rather be turning 5 times than 1 or 2 times a year. So that's the goal, and that just comes with volume. There's nothing you can do about it because of minimums. So we're going to be spending about this year, probably about 19 to 20% on the collection. And then you got to have people that work with you, right? So we're people like Bonnie and other people that are really in the marketing world, and believe it or not, we have to pay them. And so, yeah, so we're actually for key people like that, we've got to have them on the payroll, and that's a proper thing. And then also we have a lot of kind of contractors that we don't need the full year, but we need, we need people right now just for short periods of time. So you pay more for that than if you had full-time people where your volume. So again, it's a volume game. So that's kind of how we're going to spend the 400,000. So I think just because of the time, my time's up. And so I think we're going to turn it back to Bonnie, I think, and she's going to MC the questions. So hopefully that gives you at least some things to think about to ask your questions. So Bonnie, it's yours.
Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to go ahead and ask a question. You can also chat me in the chat. But yeah, this is your time to ask us some questions. Go ahead and unmute if you're ready for that.
Hey Bonnie, it's Fran in New York.
Hey Fran.
I miss you.
I miss you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining today.
So as a marketer, I'm happy to give time. So I'm going to be like Bob. If you need me to do anything, I'm happy to do it. I'd love to be able to help also with classes, obviously, because I think the line is one thing. But again, to keep this brand really, fully embodied in what it is, it's the program too. It's the classes, it's the psychology behind it, the philosophy behind it. You're not selling just a piece of clothes. You're selling inside out, outside in beauty, which I happen to know a lot about, and it's really popular right now. So I don't really have a question, but just tap me. If you need me to teach some classes, I'm a Kundalini yoga instructor. I'm a trauma specialist. And as we know, this triggers a little bit of trauma sometimes. But I'm also a Reiki master. I deal with energy all the time. And I've taken a couple of phases of stretching, etc. So I can't give you money right now, but I'm happy to give you time.
Oh, thank you, Fran. And that's definitely something we're looking forward to doing, is incorporating more teachers. We have some guest teachers now, but we'll keep bringing other people on to share their knowledge with our audience for sure. Thanks, Fran. Clark, I think you had a question.
Yeah. I love, as you know, I love the idea, I love the concept, I love the design of the brand and the products. How do you see yourself moving forward using and or developing fabrics with minimal and or ideally zero negative environmental impact, like the full cycle, both manufacturing, end of life with regards to microplastics, and the whole, the eco-friendly options?
Such a good question. We've been doing a lot of research from the inside, looking for fabrics that are more sustainable. It's really tough to find options that are not greenwashing. And interestingly enough, and not surprisingly enough, there's quite a firewall when it comes to these fabrics. So it's really important that we keep doing our research and looking for these smaller fabric brands that'll let us have an entry point, because some of the bigger brands like Lulu, etc., they kind of have their own, their proprietorship around these more recycled, sustainable fabrics. So it's hard as a small brand to find that entryway, but absolutely we're working on that. There's actually a brand in Thailand that I've been closely speaking with, and they've been sending me samples. The huge industry change will be in fabrics, not in the clothes themselves. So we're kind of, not that we need to wait because there's options out there, but that being more accessible and not so expensive as a small brand, it's hard to do that, but definitely working on that effort, absolutely. One thing that is cool about the seamless, like Susie said, is that it's no waste when it's produced. So that's a first step. And the fabric coming from Italy, our top fabric, a 4-way stretch compression, they make sure that they don't do any pollutants in the environment and reducing water usage as they're doing dyeing, etc. A big educational point to our audience, as you know, I share on Instagram fairly often, don't wash your clothes in hot water. Please don't put them in the dryer unless it's 5 minutes to kind of bring the seamless back into its shape, which it can kind of, what's great about the seamless is it molds to the body, but then it can bag a little bit. But if you throw it in the dryer for 5 minutes, it goes back into its shape. But not to over dry and not to wash in hot water, because that's what creates the micro particles to go wash out into the ocean. So definitely keeping on the education to our customers about how to care for their clothing. That's such a good question. Thank you, Clark. It's huge part of my heart is to change how we look at producing clothes. And one last thing on that is that I think our designs are classic, and although activewear doesn't last forever, these are pieces that I hope women love so much that they really wear them till they're donezo. So that it's not about fast fashion. They love that they have their earth element set. It's their favorite set. They wear it all the time. So there's less need to just like buy a whole bunch of stuff. We're definitely not into the Fabletics model of get 2 new outfits a month. You know, we want people to really enjoy these pieces and wear them for a long time.
Right on. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would also like to add something, Bunny. We're also, Clark, we're looking at all aspects of sustainability, and that includes our packaging. So one thing we're moving towards is having less plastic. And I know we've had a lot of plastic on our tags before. We've had these big, beautiful white boxes with a plastic film. We're starting to phase that out. We're looking at poly bags that are dissolvable, so they can be in a landfill. And over a period from anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months, they'll automatically dissolve. So I hear what you're saying, that's important, and we're looking at all aspects of that. And to Bonnie's point, we're also very particular about not working with manufacturers that require high minimums, so that we would have a lot of leftover that we'd have to throw away. We really start with small minimums.
That's great. Also, we're particular about our color choices so that you can pair back with your former collection items. So we don't make it so you have to buy a whole new set entirely, although feel free to keep buying.
Bonnie, there's been a few questions in our Zoom chat. So I'd like to answer Susan Riley's question. Okay. Her question is, are the woven channels the same across the upper and lower similar pieces like wood, metal, fire? The answer is yes. If you buy leggings, and let's say a tank, those channels will indeed tie exactly. They're going to match perfectly because that's what your energy channels of your body does. So those energy channels will continue up the body. And those are for those channels that are both for the upper torso and for the lower body. Metal and fire are all arms, so you wouldn't see those on the legs. It's just the arms. So hopefully that answers your question. Then Erin, you asked, how long does an outfit last? We introduced Ghost Flower in March of 2018, and I'm still wearing the same pieces. They're designed to last as long as you practice yoga or or do workouts. They're designed to last. We haven't experienced that any of our products have come apart. If they do, then it's a problem with how they were manufactured, and we always replace that piece. So if there's any kind of unraveling, if anybody experiences that, please feel free to contact me or customer support, and we will replace those leggings. So thanks for that question. Okay, who else has a question?
A WeFunder question, Bob. From an outsider, I see it as 3 phases. Phase 1 was sort of the friends and family up to 100,000 with a $500 minimum, and phase 2 was dropped to a $100 minimum and open it up to the WeFunder. What's the difference, or the different either tactics or approach for this, what I would think of as the third phase, getting from $250 to the $400 target you're looking for? Is there a material difference in a phase thing, or is it just doing more of the same?
It's a good question, and we asked that question of our consultant. We have a specialist actually in the launch, and what he tells us about it is, one is that you have to constantly have presence. I mean, if you look at the number of crowdfunding companies, there's a lot out there, and they're introducing several companies a week, and so it's hard to be new. You're new, and then you're new old, you know. And so the cycle of if you want to think of it as competition with other people, where people are making choices, and so part of it is just staying present, and which is what we're trying to do. And part of it is really openly communicating with people, which we want to do anyway. And so we send out emails, we post, we're constantly trying to make sure we're staying connected. The other is ads. We have paid ads, and actually WeFunder does ads and we do ads. And of course, as people come in, you can know who it is, and then you can start targeting and reminding them. I keep getting ads going to me for for Ghost Flowers, so I know that I'm now a target. So you do that, and then the other thing is it's an interesting. They have a lot of evidence that you kind of go along, and then as you get closer to the end, October the 10th is our last day, and then it'll be quite. They said you'll have a real run at the end, where a lot of people have just been thinking about, and they'll come in. Now, I'll let you know on October the 10th if that was true, but you don't do really, I mean, you just constantly stay engaged. So it's like any business, I think. And, but we enjoy talking to people anyway. I mean, part of our reason to do WeFunder is we also see as an opportunity to, it's kind of a marketing thing, is we're getting our name out there. And so I think any way you can get people attention and hear about Ghost Flower, then they tend to start recognizing the brand. And we've had customers or people that's bought WeFunder that's turned around and bought product. So that's already starting to happen a bit. It's a lot. It's more work than you probably imagined when you first started. I'll say you don't just put your name out there and it just happens.
All right. Anybody else with a question? We have a couple more minutes. I know someone wrote in a question to us. Bob, do you have that question?
What is the question? I don't see it.
Oh, I think just someone emailed us beforehand.
Oh, yeah. No, we have, we've actually had quite a few questions along the way, and some of them we've already covered, but one of the questions, we've had questions on sustainability, and I think the gang has covered that one pretty well. We've had questions on the Capitol Road. One of the questions we had early on was $500 is too high. so $100 is and what's the minimum? Well, $100 is a minimum. We've had questions. People, there are people that really aren't familiar with equity. And so we've had quite a few questions on, most recently on what do I get? And so what you get is you actually will have, you'll have equity in the company, meaning you will become an owner. So you'll have shares in the company. The shares are held. There's the way it works is because we already are up to 240 some investors, so you can't possibly keep track of all the kind of the accounting of all that. And so the way it works is your shares are held under your name. You can almost think of it not like an investment banker, but like a company when you have a company that you're buying stock through, but they hold the shares for you, but the shares are in your name. And so that's the way it works. And then we've had questions about how do I vote my shares? And in fact, there won't be that many votes, but actually there's a lead investor who invested 150,000, actually he's invested now 155,000. He is a lead investor. He's very aligned, if you can imagine, with you as a shareholder. And so he basically, on key questions, he will basically vote his shares, and how he votes his shares, your shares will be voted in the same way. Now, to be honest, about the only thing I can imagine where there would be a share vote would be an example of Lululemon, all dream together. Lululemon comes in and offers us $1 billion for the company. Then he's going to say, do I want to sell or not? And so that would be the kind of transaction. But if you think about it, he's very aligned with the shareholders, but you really can't. The problem is when you have so many shareholders and some of them have $100 worth of shares, it's just impossible. If you get locked into where you have to find every shareholder before you can transact, it would be an impossible logistical thing. So that's one of the quite clever things that WeFunder have done, is how to set something up that works that way. So that was one of the bigger questions. I don't know if we've had any other product questions or not beyond what you guys have covered.
Bob, we just had a recent question to you from Mo.
Could you address the intellectual property to date for the designs, fabrics, etc., if any?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's an answer that you may or may not like. Is that in the fashion industry, there's very, very little what would be considered the intellectual property is the brand itself. And so we own Ghost Flower. No one can use the Ghost Flower. We own the logo. And that is really our intellectual property. And if you look in fashion, there's, with the exception of a few things where you can copyright or maybe get get some kind of an IP, very, very unusual. If you take, I can't remember, the women will know, the company that painted the bottom of the shoes red. And so that's Susie knows because she has those shoes.
Yeah, Louboutin.
Yeah, so that has actually been patented. So they actually have the rights to that, and no one else can paint the bottom of the shoes red. So now you have people painting the bottom of the shoes orange. So we actually went down that path. We spent quite a bit of money with patent lawyers trying to see if we could patent the idea. And they kind of reminded us that this has been around for 10,000 years, the idea of meridians. And so just to get to the underlying science and try to say we own something about that is probably what they told us is you might even get a patent, but if you ever challenge, you would never win it. And so we've just decided the best place to put our money is brand building. And a brand is what really becomes valuable. People at some point, if they relate to the brand and they relate to the emotions behind the brand, and if you continue to build good products, you'll have that customer for a long, long time. So, Mo, I'm afraid it's a great question. It's one we ask ourselves. We spent quite a bit of money trying to think about how to get a patent on this, and the answer was brand the name, go build the business.
I will mention, Mo, that it's not that easy to copy. Believe me, you can't just put lines on the leggings. We spent a considerable amount of time with Nell LeBlanc. She's an expert in teaching acupressure. And we had to get those right. We had to line it up exactly right. That's the whole point, because we're basing everything on that science. So we had a lot of trial and error. That took a lot of iterations to get it right. So
are you talking about the lines that you mentioned earlier in the outfits?
The energy lines and the acupressure points, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then even having it scalable. So like if you have different sizes, so you know what works on small, medium, large, and so it has to actually has to work in all sizes. And you know they literally almost spent a year on building that out. You know, so it's not easy.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. If random people want to take them.
Yeah, last couple questions.
I'll ask all the questions in a row, and then you guys can decide how to answer. The first one relates to buying the product in boutique stores, because when I'm out shopping in different cities, I always love to go in cool stores and you find some little item and you fall in love with it, and then you learn all about it, and then you tell people about it. And I'm wondering if you guys have it in little high-end boutique stores that have activewear. My next question, or two questions, have to do with the points. On the clothing itself, is there texture to the point on the inside so that your skin is coming in contact with it and recognizing there's texture at that point? And then my other question is, when you buy the product, does it come with a little booklet or pamphlet that tells you about the meridian and the points and what to do? Those are three questions.
Good questions. Susie, do you want to take the boutique question first?
Absolutely, and that's a good question because I love boutiques. So yes, I mean back when COVID clears up and we're allowed to go outside again, then we would very much like to be in boutiques. In the past, we've been in boutique yoga studios, small ones across the West, and Core Power, and a few in New York. But we have not opened our own. We thought about that, and we're very grateful that we never followed through with that, because we ended up being in a very good position that we were all online now with COVID, because COVID actually helped our sales, and we would have been in a world of hurt if we had a boutique. But yes, in the future, we would like to have our own boutique, and we're also looking at even expanding beyond having a boutique and turning it into a Ghost Flower retreat center that includes a studio, that includes soaking tubs. It's actually part of our grand plan that would take us a while to go through, but yes, our intention is to do that. For acupressure points, Bonnie, do you want to handle that, or would you like me to?
You can go ahead. I'm chatting someone here in the Zoom chat.
Okay, so for the acupressure points, you asked about the texture of an acupressure point. In the past, we've had them just flat, so that you would not feel any pressure on the inside. And then we tried having these plastic, these raised logos for our water leggings. And those are really nice, because then you don't have to look back and try to find where that point is. You just put your finger on that point. And that works really well, except we did have occasions where it came off right away. And so that's very sensitive to the skill of the manufacturer, whether they follow the exact heat and pressure to keep those on, because we really want to move in that direction. So we can put them on the inside. So people would have that constant acupressure point. They would feel and understand and know where they are, because once you understand where they are, you'll notice that the acupressure points talk to you. They'll tell you when they want to be pressed once you get familiar with it. Then you asked an excellent question, and something near and dear to my heart, and that is, why don't we provide a booklet or pamphlet showing how to use the clothes? It's something I wanted to do from day one. And then we decided, no, let's just do it online. We'll include a pamphlet online, and we ended up not doing it. I think our plans in the future are to be able to have, if not a booklet, then we would give you a card where you could scan your phone up to a QR code, and then it would bring up the PDF. So you would have it with you at all times, and it would include all the information related to your clothes, what each acupressure point means, etc.
We'll probably do both. I think there are people that want the, we fell in, to be honest, we fell into the trap of, this is a case where we listened to some early consultants, and they were focused on cost, and we really missed the opportunity of having a really cool little pamphlet that people, because a lot of people still like that. They like the tactile. And so there's no reason, we'll probably have maybe a little booklet, and then maybe on the back a QR code, so they could do it either way. And so, but we certainly want to do that. Those are the little things that help differentiate you and make you special. And so if you're going to spend a little money, those are the kind of things that we want to spend the money on.
Another question, I see, Joe, you asked about how COVID has impacted our supply chain and go-to-market strategy. Has it affected it? Absolutely. We were hoping to get the onesies refreshed already by now, but a lot of our manufacturers were shut down because of COVID, and we had to wait until the state let them open again. And then they opened in a very limited way. So that has delayed our release of the onesies by about a month. So as far as go to market, I'm afraid it's actually worked in our favor, because more people were at home online, and our sales actually went up with COVID.
Especially in the beginning.
A captive market.
Yeah.
Or captive audience, rather. Yes, absolutely.
Captive audience, especially with learning immune system acupressure points and exercises they could do for their immune, and that kind of bolstered the Instagram and more online engagement, educational wise, which translates into sales. So that was really exciting.
Perfect. No, that's great. I appreciate it, and I'll pass it on to my wife to take a look at the Instagram piece, because that was going to be my next question as far as how to connect and maybe take some of the classes or utilize the clothing. So that's fantastic. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, best thing to do is get on our email list, as you probably are. We'll be sending out updates on fall schedule. And there's also a way to sign up for classes in our Instagram link in bio. If you just click the link there, there will be an easy way to drop into those classes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're about out of time here. If Susie, I don't know if you want to draw our raffle.
Yes, I saw that. Our friend Gary Renaud snuck in there at the last minute, so I'm add his name. You
add him in.
He just came. He's one of those guys that came in just for the raffle.
So if you're the winner, you get to choose
then we're gonna be suspicious.
$100 worth of shares, or you can choose a $100 gift certificate. So you get to decide here. Susie, the drum roll.
Okay, so here is our ultra sophisticated way of determining who's going to get their outfit. Skylar, you want to pick this up?
Skylar the dog.
I won't look.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, they're two stuck together.
And the winner is?
The winner is Aaron Sugarman.
Yay, Aaron!
No way.
It's your lucky day. That's so great. You can buy your wife an outfit. Or be a bigger shareholder.
So we'll reach out to you, Aaron, and let you know how you can get the shares or the outfit. We'll still stay on if you have more questions. We will answer every one of those for those of you who have other things to do. thank you so much for joining. I sure appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob and Susie. Bonnie?
Thank you.
Thank you all. So fabulous to have you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
There were a couple extra questions that popped up in the chat.
Just now. Thanks.
Okay, let's see.
Oh,
Rick, is Rick still on? Yeah, I'll reach out to Rick. He asked if this has been recorded. It has, so we will send that out to those who have an interest.
Yeah, I wrote to him. Laurel asked, who have you worked with or learned from in regards to Eastern medicine, meridian lines, acupressure points for personal use and for the brand? Our chief scientist who helped us really make sure that we're accurate is Dr. Dan Keown. He is a London-based PhD acupuncturist and Western medicine emergency room doctor. He wrote the book called The Spark in the Machine, and it's a brilliant book that explains how the connective tissue, aka fascia, forms the energy channels inside of our bodies. So if you have an interest in learning more about Chinese medicine and how it might be explained by Western medicine, definitely read that book. He was someone who really helped us get started, as well as our dear friend Nell LeBlanc, like Susie mentioned before. She was there at every fitting to make sure the acupressure points and the meridians were placed appropriately on the apparel. And of course, we have lots of dear friends that are acupuncturists, and we always kind of reach out if we have a question, if we need inspiration. I know we all go get worked on ourselves with Eastern medicine practitioners. For me personally, it's been an autodidact journey of going to acupuncture since I was a professional dancer in my early 20s and being like, what's that point for? What's that point for? To getting into learning books. And then I came across a man named Bob Cooley, who is an expert at resistance meridian stretches. And I learned and had a tactile education in how the meridian lines worked based on a specific kind of stretch therapy. So I was hands-on with bodies, learning about the meridians and working on clients. That's how Susie and I really got together, and how this idea came about is because we were working on her stomach channel, stomach meridian, and we were like, and she was like, how do I remember this? And then she drew the meridians on her leggings. So that's kind of our fabulous little backstory. Another great asset is to read Bob Cooley's books if you're curious about learning about the associations or behavioral traits / physical aspects that are associated with each meridian. I can give you a slew of books, so can Susie, about if you want some more info. Did that answer your question? Maybe Laurel had to go.
I'm still here.
Good.
Yes, this has been awesome. So yeah, I've definitely been getting a little bit more into this recently, amongst doing some other practices around movement and neuroscience, actually. So
cool.
Yeah, very interested in learning more about this. So maybe I'll connect with you guys further offline, but I was just curious about your own experiences and your education around it. So thank you.
Thank you, Laurel. That was great. Yeah, thanks for that question. Feel free to DM me too on Instagram or email us. There was one more.
Yeah, Danette.
Yeah, Danette. Who is our best point person? Depends on what you're asking.
So, hi, Bonnie. Thanks for inviting me. And Bob and Susie, nice to meet you and everyone. Danette, I'm based here in Santa Barbara and such a fan of Bonnie and been following Ghost Flower for a little while now. I too teach yoga and a variety of modalities. But also my background for 20 plus years has been in human resources, working with businesses to grow, scale the business from a talent management perspective. So I'm also very appreciate sort of the holistic approach, the wellness, which I see your company is beyond just clothing. I totally get that. And then I also look at sort of the people in the business side of it. So I've been going through what's posted on WeFunder. I see that some information about the financials has been shared. I can appreciate that there's some, FAQ, Q&A there. I definitely plan to talk with my CPA and financial advisors about potentially investing, but, there's questions that come up, and I'm just wondering who would be the point of contact for me or anyone on my behalf, if additional questions do arise, which I know they will. So Bob, is that you?
Yeah, it would be.
Okay.
It would be me. Yeah, and just feel free. You can reach me at bob.peebler@Ghostflower. And that's probably the best way to reach out. And then
I'll text you, Danette, right now.
Okay, yeah, if you can text that to me, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, I think what you've shared so far is great. I think that, it is, I think it was important to talk about, potential, the timing, potential losses, the competitiveness in the industry, how you're planning to use the money. But I want to go back through some of the information that's posted. And like I said, seek the advice from my financial people. And
no, that's right, and it's a bit of a complicated story. So I'm happy to visit with whoever. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you plan on continuing sessions like this for, others that might be interested in investing or to expand on what's already been shared? I think it's been helpful.
Well, one thing that we're going to do is this will be posted, and so we're recording this, and so you'll be able to go to WeFunder and find it. And so if people missed it but would like to watch it,
okay,
they can certainly do that. And then we'll be ongoing. People can anytime they just want to talk to us, independently, that's fine also. So we're available, and it's just really reaching out, and then also. In the WeFunder site, there's places you can ask questions, but don't feel obligated just to go to that site. I mean, you'll have our contact information, and everybody has their unique situation, unique questions, and so we're happy to just make some time and visit as we need to.
Okay.
Also, if there's a specific topic that you'd like us to host another Q&A session on, we could definitely look at doing another one towards mid-September-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun.
That's great.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Love it, love it, love it. Great information. Just a quick question. I came from WeFunder. My question is, I believe it's going to be directed to Bob. In the event that you need to, or you want to, invest more money, do you just go back to the WeFunder page and do the same process?
You just go back in, and let's say you've already invested $500 and you want to put another 500. You just go back in and just put another 500 in.
Great concept. It's truly an inspiring, for me, it's truly inspiring. And thank you so much for hosting this platform. I'll have more people to bring in, and that recording is going to be truly helpful. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
So much. So good to have you. Love your glasses too.
Herbie Parker.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I guess that's it. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time, and
until the next time.
Right.
Super fun. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.